We live in an era full of ports, remakes, and remasters, but not every game is so lucky to be chosen for one, as there's still a handful of titles locked on older consoles, either due to exclusivity or licensing issues. However, it seems that in recent years, things have started to change as some of those titles have started to rise again. Recently, one of those elusive gems became one of the lucky few to have received a cross-platform re-release, that game being none other than Goldeneye 007. Originally released for the N64 back in 1997, this title has never been officially ported to any other console or PC. That is, until 2023, where the title was re-released on Nintendo's N64 Switch Online app and the Xbox series of consoles through Rare Replay. Today, we'll take a look at both of these versions and compare them to both the N64 original and the unreleased XBLA remake from 2008, with the goal of answering the question, what version of Goldeneye 007 is worth playing in 2023. Taking a look at the original 1997 release, the first thing you'll notice is this game was very much designed with the N64 controller in mind, with the title using the thumbstick for movement, C buttons for looking and strafing, B for interacting and reloading, A for switching weapons, R for aiming, and the Z button for shooting, which makes the game very comfortable to play when using an N64 controller. The only real downside would be the fact that it's on the N64, leaving it capped to a mere 30 frames per second if you're even lucky to get that. Not to mention that the N64 is a console notorious for having poor image quality when using it on modern televisions. This is due to the console's lack of support to natively use any higher-end video output cables without modification to the system, which is something that can easily turn into a quite expensive rabbit hole due to the availability and demand for the mod kits, thus leaving the N64 version of the game as something best played on older televisions. Moving on to the unreleased remaster made by Rare, originally developed for the Xbox 360 arcade. This version of the remaster for Goldeneye was leaked back in 2021, and the XEX file made available on multiple sites, letting fans play this golden goose of a title on their modded console or emulators. Booting the cancelled version, you're immediately presented with far cleaner visuals, and even including a button allowing the player to switch between the original 97 graphics and the remastered ones. The other stark contrast to the original being that the game now runs at a silky smooth 60 frames per second, with modernized controls matching most first-person shooters at the time. Now, the only real downside to this version would be it never having an official release, leaving this prototype to only those who either own a modified Xbox 360 or are willing to configure and run it on a 360 emulator. On the bright side, within the past month, Goldeneye was added as part of the Rare Replay bundle on the newer series of Xbox consoles, allowing it to be played by a whole new generation. However, this version has a few downgrades when compared to the unreleased 360 version. While this version does include the modernized FPS controls of its proposed precursor, it does however lack the remastered visuals, instead choosing to stick with the original aesthetic. This release is also locked to a staggered 30 frames per second, where the game seems to have a difficult time keeping it locked at that frame rate, leading to some strange stuttering occurring during gameplay. The title was also released on the Nintendo Switch as part of their online service, with the only big changes between the versions being reverting the controls back to that of the N64, which wouldn't really be that big of an issue if you have one of the Switch N64 controllers, but with those being seemingly as rare as a unicorn, most people are left playing the game on either Joy-Cons or a Pro Controller. And let me tell you, these are not the same as this. The other big change for the Switch is it being the only version to include an online multiplayer feature, whereas all other versions of Goldeneye are limited to only having local play. Now on paper, that's a large addition, however the execution isn't that great, as when attempting to play a 4-player online match we were constantly presented with connection issues, leading to a fun but albeit hindered playing experience. Now, having taken a look at all the versions of Goldeneye, both released and unreleased, it's time to answer the question, which version of Goldeneye is worth playing today? To be fair, this game is from 1997 and is virtually the same regardless of the platform you choose to play it on. However, if you want the best version in terms of play quality, the unreleased XBLA version is definitely the way to go, with the version for Switch being a close contender due to its online features, as albeit the online online multiplayer is shoddy at best, it is the only release to include the option. Providing a convenience for today's lifestyle, as getting together in the same room to play games is becoming increasingly uncommon, and despite its network problems, it does still provide the enjoyment of goofing off with your friends and screen cheating like it's 1997. With that, I would just like to say thank you so much for watching, and if you enjoyed this video style, please leave a like to let us know that you want to see more content like this in the future, as this is somewhat a departure from what's normally on the channel and gives us motivation to try new things. Also, comment down below what console you'll be playing Goldeneye on, and be sure to subscribe as to not miss any new videos from the network, and I'll see you in the next one.